Hello everyone, good morning. We're just getting started. And just repositioning my phone and everything else. I was about to start and then I got a message from the app that my microphone for Facebook is off. So I had to go find the microphone option for Facebook and turn it on. Okay, so welcome. It's Saturday morning here, and if you're watching from Europe, then it's afternoon for you. Thank you for joining. So today I just wanted to play a little bit with the concept about the dream state activation because this is a brand new series and some of you have questions. So our first class or the coaching class actually begins on the 8th. So I figured before that we can just play, connect, and we can look at answering some of the questions that I have so far. So a couple things first I want to mention that let's start with what dream state sequence is. It's basically a series of letters and numbers, and you may have seen a sample that I gave you first. So it's basically a series of letters and numbers, and you read the sequence at night before you go to sleep, and then you just go to sleep and your brain does the work. So how does the sequence work? Within each letter and number and the way they're connected, there is a program built in. So it's similar to, let's say, the on button on your computer. When you press the on button, because of my technology background, I know like tens of millions of lines of codes actually get executed to bring your computer up online. And it's in a similar way, that entire dream state sequence and the phrase activate dream state sequence, that is mapped, when you say it 3 times or whisper it 3 times, that is actually mapped to a number of steps. And all those steps get executed when you say the sequence. Now, the fun thing is that your brain is doing the work. When you say the sequence 3 times, you turn it over to your brain, and your brain gets a list of tasks or activities that it needs to complete when you sleep. And it evaluates, how much and how deep it can process for you. So your brain is doing the work, and that's why your body, your being, your cells, your system is receiving information and directions from your brain directly. So that's why, a lot of times you may have a lot of interesting dreams. You may notice a lot of processing. So you will notice in different ways when you read the sequence. The important thing about that is, since your brain is sending the instructions and it is your brain, now your body listens to it more. So, that's just a fun part about dream state sequence. And those of you who have the matrix imprint, let me just show you something. Well, let me just take this. It's a $2 note. So let's say this is our matrix imprint. So the graphics, of the matrix imprint will be encoded with a lot of information, and at the bottom of the graphic you also have the statement written: activate dream state sequence and the entire sequence. So what happens is, a matrix imprint is, it's not just a two-dimensional image, but it has depth. So you actually go inside the environment of the matrix imprint, and those are all very graphical images, and there are a lot of let's say different light matrix, different sound waves, many different things programmed. Sometimes some of the other tools are connected to certain points of the matrix imprint, like at this point, or do this particular scanning, and then here launch rings of harmony, shift the patterns. So matrix imprints are designed to first run a scan on you. So for example, each matrix imprint has some similar to like camera or scanning feature. Let's say when I program this, if I program this, let's say I built this as a scanning device, and I built another scanning device here and another one here. So when you look at the matrix imprint, you will basically absorb the information, and those points on the matrix imprint will initiate some scans for you. Think about going through an airport metal detector. The metal detector is not alive, but it's programmed. So when you have certain types of metal in your body or you're carrying in your pocket, then the metal detector will beep, right? That's how it's programmed. So similarly, the matrix imprint will be programmed, or are programmed, to scan for different anomalies, scan for different patterns, scan for different types of information. And then when you look at it, when you connect with it, when you dive into it, it actually does the scanning and initiates the let's say the task that, okay, first run the rings of harmony, let's bring in then grounding energy, let's bring in Maya's energy, let's look at where in your timeline you have experienced a lot of hopelessness or despair, or where you have experienced a lot of lack and limitations or losing everything. And let's isolate and connect to those timelines and to those parts of your life, and let's begin to run these processes to shift this, and then raise the energy, bring in, restoring our abundance, bring in a spiraling vortex of abundance or love or vibrant health. So a lot of those steps are programmed. They are very, very detailed programmed images, and they're like computer programmed, highly interactive computer programs. That's how you can just have fun with the matrix imprint. You can gently gaze at the images and dive into them, or just stare at them and allow the energy and information from the images to come in and spiral through you. You can think about the matrix imprint as a flat, let's say, horizontal image. And when you sit somewhere and meditate, think about putting that image, even if it's not the physical image, think about putting the hologram or a copy of the image, imagine it, visualize it, do it in the hologram, like drag and drop it, those of you who have played more with it. But you can, even without the physical printout, or let's say even without putting a physical printout on the floor, you can just put that energy of the image or the graphics on the floor, on the carpet, when you're sitting and doing your meditation. And it's almost like you're sitting in the middle of the matrix imprint, doing your meditation or doing some of your tasks, and the energy of the matrix imprint is going up through you vertically. So that's another way to play with the matrix imprint. Now, it's really a fun way to do that. One of the things I do is, on my phone, I have also saved all the imprints. And like last night, I was playing with the empowerment one, empowerment for success, abundance, prosperity. So I've been playing with that for the last few nights. And one of the things I do is, when I read the matrix, the dream state sequence, and then I gaze at the imprint, then I drag and drop that imprint on my headboard, and then I let it stay there all night long when I sleep. So it helps me to do a lot of processing at night. I sometimes have interesting dreams. I don't know what it does. There's a lot of steps programmed, but then how my brain is processing, who knows? your brain knows the best way to process the data. But what I know is when I wake up, I noticed that my brain was active and it was doing a lot of processing or doing a lot of things when I slept. Now, interestingly, one fun thing that happened is, this morning, very early morning, I woke up, and then my dream that I was seeing was then it was close to 9 a.m. And so I was setting up the phone and everything else. I was going to do Facebook Live, so I was waiting for it to be 9 a.m. And then suddenly the time changed to 9:10. And then I was like, wait a minute, I just lost 10 minutes. Everybody was waiting. So it was fun to notice that maybe my brain was playing with me, knowing that sometimes we notice interesting technical glitch, like this morning. I started Facebook Live and it said, well, your microphone is off. So okay, so your brain can have fun with you and play with you in different ways. So play with the imprints, to really look at how the dream state activations can help you. You have the option of getting the imprint and the dream state sequence, or just the sequence. And those of you who have played with some of the recent programs, and especially like Discover Your Inner Magic, where we have played with infinity waves, that's something you can use with the dream state sequence. So you can gently gaze at the sequence, or if you have the matrix imprint, you can gaze at the matrix imprint and then run the infinity waves back and forth, back and forth. So that, since you have already played with the infinity wave and you have certain connection to it, then your system will also look at bringing in some of the energy and information from the matrix imprint and from the dream state sequence, through the infinity waves. So that's something you can do. Those of you who have played with the Pegasus energy and the dreams and the Discover Your Inner Magic program, in that program, and the infinity waves. So think about the Pegasus energy is there, so you can play with it in many different ways. You can think about the matrix imprint energy creating a spiraling vortex, the way, let's say, if you take a glass of water and stir the water with a spoon, you will create a vortex. So you can notice a spiraling vortex of energy and information and just step onto that matrix imprint in your mind. So you can play in many different ways like that. And just the main thing is playing with the energy, playing with possibilities, playing with options, and seeing what works and how you can do things and how you can have fun. So play, explore, and create a lot of magic. And let me see if I have noticed any questions either on the page or usually my the site will have a time delay when I'm doing a Facebook Live. So if you have any questions, then you can post it on the Facebook group, and then I will get back to you. If you have more detailed or specific questions, then you can always get in touch with support, email support@lifeharmonized.com. Then we will get in touch with you and answer your questions. But the classes begin on May 8th, and it's a 5-week program where we will go deeper into each dream state activation sequence and matrix imprint. So just make sure that you join us. Do print the worksheet, because scientifically we know that when you actually handwrite, then your brain and your neural network and your fingers and the energy and information that you're writing, all of those create a connection. So then your system processes that more, and it becomes more empowering than you just typing it. We are so used to typing it, and I made the PDF editable also. You can put a certain number of characters on each line, so you can type your things on the PDF so that you have it in front of you, which is great, but also have a copy and just fill it out. In the class, the coaching class, each week we will go a little deeper onto the worksheet, so you can look at what you have written and fine tune anything that you want, and then we will play with the images and information. And make sure if you have any questions you ask, because that's what the coaching calls are about. It's for you to get any kind of clarification that you want, and any question that you have, bring those questions about dream state activation and the processes and the imprints, and I will go through those. Okay. Now, if you have that curiosity about how do I get the sequence, what happens is when I begin to build the imprint and the dream state sequence and other information, when I just begin to construct that entire program in the hologram, one by one those letters, numbers, and images and everything else show up. So you see the letters and numbers there on the screen, and there's a lot more other data and different sacred geometry and everything else that's imprinted on the matrix imprint or connected to the sequence. So those are the things you don't see. Or if you play more with visual, you may notice things popping up. So just play, okay? Just play, gently stare at the sequence. Notice what you notice what shows up for you, how you feel, any random thoughts that may pop up. Notice your dreams, notice the activity of your brain, and just play. And the dream state sequence is for nighttime processing, so you can make your sleep time productive. It doesn't take any extra time. That's the I guess most magical thing about it. So you can just read it, spend 30 seconds on it, and be done with it. And when you're sleeping, it can do all the work for you. Your brain does it. And when you have the matrix imprint, if you have option number 2, then you can gently gaze at the matrix imprint anytime throughout the day. It doesn't have to be at night. Definitely gently gaze at it at night, and since the sequence is on it, read the sequence there. But throughout the day, I gently gaze at it, time to time. I have a folder where I have all the matrix imprints, and I just run through them, whichever ones attract me. I just gently gaze. I allow the information to come to me, and I just have fun. Or the other thing you can do is also think about taking the matrix imprint image, and you can superimpose that on a part of your soul journey. So for example, let's say the one for dissolving fear, doubt, hesitation, and some of those energies. Let's think about some parts of your soul journey, and you can take that imprint and superimpose that. That means just drag and drop it on that timeline. Or if you think about your entire timeline, in this universe, this is the beginning, and this is where you are, and this is the entire span of your duration in this universe. Or whether if you consider this as the point of origin. So then what you can do is think about the dream state sequence image, bringing this gently through your entire soul's journey. First, the one that's about dissolving fear, doubt, hesitation, draining energies, all that. Then, one by one, you can do the other ones. Not all at the same time. Just gradually do that. Take a few minutes, mentally do that, or if you have the printed image, then you can bring in the matrix imprint that way. Just gently understand this, like 1 millimeter movement could mean 500,000 years of your soul's journey. So just gently bring it from one side to the other side, from your left to the right, connecting left to the point of origin, and right moving forward in time in a linear fashion, and go past where you are now. So if this is here, you are here, then go past this point through your entire soul's journey, and in your mind ask, what does my timeline look like? Now notice the colors, notice the feelings, sensations, and then run the dream state sequence matrix imprint, and then notice the difference afterward. I see things getting more vibrant, and then sometimes I would bring in the magic imprint too that way. So that way you can create a ripple through time, and you can shift a lot of patterns very, very deeply. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I wanted to mention today. So have fun. Again, our 5-week classes are going to begin on the 8th. Every Tuesday we have a live class. If you cannot join live, then you can certainly look at or watch the replay and listen to the audio. But do your best to be live, and do your best to print out the worksheet, and you can fill it out by your hand, so then you make a better connection with your vision. One of the things I want to mention is there are many interviews I've noticed or I've watched, or interviews of those who created massive success, many actors and many others who are also doing a lot of work around the planet to help the planet. And some of them mentioned that they have written checks, and they played with the check for like 5 years, 10 years, 12 years before they got a check like that, like $10 million check or something like that. So just think about this worksheet as your vision. Like, what is it that you desire? So when you have the outline of what is it that you desire, and then you play with the sequence and the imprints and the different tools, you're focusing on that vision, you're focusing on that magical life and your magical scenario, your magical universe. So as you continue to focus, then you will shift your reality faster, and a lot more magic will show up for you. Okay, so take care and have a lot of fun.